We welcome now Kelly Bennett, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
I'm waiting for the news music, and I'm not hearing it anywhere. But anyway, Happy New Year to you both. Happy New Year, Gerard.
Happy New Year, Kelly. Thanks for joining us today. What you got for us? I was just reading some of your notes there. It looks like there's a manhunt going on.
Yes, and this has been going on for the better part of this week. Now, a $2,500 reward is being offered for information that leads to the arrest of a triple murder suspect in Greene County. Deputies are still searching for an unnamed suspect that shot and killed 3 people at the Clark Station in State Line on Wednesday. They're saying this suspect, who hasn't been identified, he was masked and wore gloves during the crime, should be considered armed and dangerous.
Yeah.
Rhonda Denson and her boyfriend Lester Campbell were opening the Clark's gas station around 6 a.m. A customer, Jason Thornton, was also there. A masked male had apparently been lying in wait outside the store and shot Campbell as he entered, then shot the customer and stole his wallet. Now, Denson managed to lock herself in a back room, but the suspect broke down the door and dragged her to the front of the store to open up the register and safe. And even though she complied with his demands, he still killed her. Deputies are still trying to figure out whether the homicide was a robbery gone wrong or if it's possible that Denson was targeted. And in the town, I mean, you can imagine the folks in State Line, which is a really small community. This has really torn up folks in the community, and they've placed bows on a wooden cross in the center of town in honor of those victims. And they're still looking for another shooter, this one out of Holly Springs. Apparently, an argument over ownership of a car ended in gunfire in Holly Springs on Wednesday. One suspect is in custody in the connection with the shooting, but police are still looking for Tyrell Battle. Now, Battle allegedly showed up at a home on Old Hudsonville Road with his sister, Janie Battle, to settle an argument over a vehicle which was reportedly co-owned by the woman and the victim, who was her ex-boyfriend. He was shot in the leg but is recovering. Now, witnesses told police Tyrell showed up with 3 weapons on him and threatened the entire family. They ran into the house as he allegedly opened fire. Both suspects fled the scene, but Janie Battle was apprehended on Wednesday. Tyrell Battle is still on the run, and anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to contact police.
Wow, incredible. Well, that's these are all just developments in the last couple of days, right?
These stories are from this morning.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Incredible. All right, so what about the New Orleans and Biloxi bomb teams? What's happening there?
I thought this was really interesting. Keith Davis, the Deputy Commissioner of Operations for the Department of Public Safety in Mississippi, told us earlier this week that bomb teams from Biloxi, Mississippi, are assisting with the investigation into the terror attack in New Orleans.
How about that? So I wasn't even aware that such existed in Biloxi there, but it makes sense. Sure.
We also received an update from the National Weather Service on weekend storms last Saturday.
Yeah.
And it turns out they were saying over 20. The total went up. Apparently, the Magnolia State saw 27 tornadoes touch down last Saturday alone. Over 300 homes in 21 counties were damaged. There were 2 fatalities and 10 injuries reported. And they're still, working to get everything back up. I think it was Wednesday when Entergy managed to restore power to all those that were affected. And I do want to give you a heads up. We've got severe thunderstorms possible Sunday into Sunday night as a low-pressure system moves across Mississippi. And they're talking about severe storms capable of producing hail, damaging wind gusts, and tornadoes. So over the weekend, especially on Sunday, you're going to make sure you want to stay weather aware.
And I'm about tired of that. Seems like we're on kind of a regular cadence on severe weather moving through the area. and just a clash of air masses causing all that. All right.
It's this time of year where you've got, I love living in the South because the weather's warmer. I haven't shoveled snow in years. However, when you get these constant bouts between hot air and cooler air, the result is storms. So, yeah. They're pretty common.
Yep, I understand. All right, what else you guys tracking?
I thought this was kind of a fun story. William and Olivia were the most popular baby names in Mississippi in 2024. The State Department of Health's Office of Vital Records compiles a list of the most popular baby names in our state every year. 167 baby boys were named William. 101 girls were named Olivia. Rounding out the top 5 for the most popular boy names were John, James, Noah, and Liam. Ava, Mary, Amelia, and a tie between Charlotte and Harper completed the list for girls.
Wow.
Harper. That's those Mississippi writers' influence, don't you think?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's pretty cool. It's interesting to track how that just changes through the years. What gets popular, what's in vogue, and then sort of phases out, fades away, and then gets replaced by new names. A lot of times I think that's influenced by celebrities and just high-profile figures that folks want to name their newborns after. You think that's still the case?
Yeah, I think names have a lot to do with what's trending and what's going on in, popular culture and current event driven. But I know, I was born in 1969, and there are a ton of Kellys that are my age.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that related to anything? Any figure of the time?
I don't know. It just seems to have been a pretty popular name at the time.
Interesting. How about that? And, of course, there could be Kelly for a male or a female, right?
Yeah, most of them are male.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I will admit that. I've always thought it was cool that I had a guy's name. In fact, in the newsroom, so many people assume I am a man with the job I hold that I still receive mail in the newsroom for Mr. Kelly Bennett, which makes me laugh.
Yeah, my daughter's name is Alex. It's actually formerly Alexandra, her total name. And my wife's theory there was to give her a name. We would call her Alex and refer to her by Alex. And her theory was when you see it, you don't know if it's a male or a female.
Yeah. Names are kind of fun, although I got to say there are a lot of them that come up in news stories that are really hard to pronounce, and sometimes I secretly wish parents would give their kids easier to pronounce names, but that's for selfish reasons. Yeah,
well, in the old days, before I started doing this, I served as a public address announcer for high school sporting events, and I would always sit down and make sure I got those names right with someone from the team, the opposing team, to ensure that I pronounced them right. At the game, and because there's nothing, no more of a fierce ire that you would feel than a mom of a child whose name you mispronounced on the PA. I didn't want that coming down on me. So it was always my custom to sit down with the coach, the manager, somebody on the team, and say, please pronounce every one of these names for me. I want to make sure I get them right, because when you look at proper names, you don't always know.
Yeah, and I do the same thing when I MC events like Mardi Gras balls, because you're right. Everybody in the room will know the name, and they'll know if you're not pronouncing it correctly, but you won't know it. So you go double check with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let me make sure I get this right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we got the legislature getting their session underway next week. You guys been
Tuesday.
doing Tuesday, always the first Tuesday after the first. And so that would be this Tuesday. Anything in particular that the news department's been talking about with respect to the legislative session kicking off?
I just think it's going to be interesting to see what they try to tackle first.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. Last year it seemed like there was nothing they wouldn't debate and
right.
nothing they wouldn't consider, which is not a bad thing. It's not a criticism. but there's a time restraint involved when the legislature is in session.
Absolutely.
And of course, I don't know, you have to think back in January of 2024, they had that big special session to announce the economic development of Amazon Web Services. I mean, so it started with a bang, and you got to wonder if 2025
you guys are going to be busy
the same way.
You guys are going to be busy. We got to go. We'll be talking to you again soon. Happy New Year, Kelly. Thanks for coming on.
Happy New Year. Thanks.
Coming right back in the Alamo.